is the, now I wouldn't say finished product, but this is the product that you'll end up making by following the tutorial. And I'll be back with another video at some point to show the finished thing. So what I do is I keep this notebook. This was Pink Monarch. One of the presenters had this notebook, and what she did was, this was like her idea book, and so she would put all her ideas in it. But what I've done with mine is I've written down tutorial instructions from people that I follow on YouTube, and all the step-by-step directions, so I can just refer to it in here, and you could see it. I've done quite a few. I need my measurement conversions because I'm terrible with fractions. And then my crocodile, I feel like I have to look it up every time, so I have that in there. Anyways, so I've gone through and written down things that inspire me, and I actually have my own now in here. So these are the notes for making my own little journal, which is exciting. So I'm going to take you through all of these. I don't know, I have a lot that you should ignore, but if you want to take a screenshot of this. And so the original one's called the Saucy Folio Tutorial by Country Craft, and so I call mine the Shrunken Saucy. And then on this page, there's all the measurements if you like to see it, you know, all at once. Otherwise, I have gone through and written them out for you. So I don't know if you like to just have all the measurements at once, or if you like to go, you know, piece by piece, just because there are so many different pieces to this. But I'll show you piece by piece, and then I'll show you as I go through it, so you can do whatever works for you. Okay, so this is for the expanding pockets. You want a 4 by 7/8 by a 7 by 5/8, and you want 2 of those. And then for the lid, you also want 2, and you want to be 4 7/8 by 6 inches. And then I have the scoring on here, but the direction to go with the scoring, you'll have to wait, unfortunately, until we actually do it. And then the sides of the pocket are 2 inches by 4.5 inches. All right, so if you want to prep the expanding pocket, and yes, I have color coordinated paper clips to go with each piece because I am a nerd. Okay, then this is for the photo pocket. It's my daughter knocking, pretending to be a dog. This is 1.5 inches by 6 1/8, and it's just for this strip. And this is to hold, I think they're called snapshot sleeves, and I believe they're 4 by 6. But you can use whatever you have for this. It doesn't have to be these. This is just what works well for the size that I'm working with. All right, and then we are going to make a waterfall, and I'm using Michelle Allen's technique for this. This is the only way I make waterfalls now. And so you'll need a 4.5 by 10.5, a 4.5 by 9.5, and a 4.5 by 8.5. And this is all 110-pound cardstock. I did the really heavy duty cardstock rather than doing chipboard and wrapping. Okay, then we're going to make, this is all, actually it goes together. This is the part of the journal that like flips open into like tag and pocket pages. So the inside pages are 6 inches by 5 inches. You need 2 of those. Then the pocket pages is 4.5 by 7 inches. You need 2 of those. Oh, I didn't make, must have just popped off. The pockets are 3 7/8 by 4 3/8. And then the small flipping pockets are for, oh, that's why. No, I don't know. The small flipping pockets are 4 7/8 by 2 7/8, and you need 2 of those. And we are going to start with the cover. So I will have it so you can just fast forward to this if you just want to do one section at a time. Okay, so what we're making is going to be like a bigger version of this. Okay, so it opens up into 4 sections, and we're going to have a waterfall, a flipping tag book, a photo album, and an expandable pocket. And then it flips like this and flips like this. And we are going to be using magnets here to keep it together. You can see the spine is bigger than, well, these two equal the spine. All right, so as we're going through, this is what we're creating. And right now we're creating the cover. Again, with 110-pound cardstock. You could always use chipboard and wrap, but I found I like this better. Okay, so for this beginning part, you are going to need 2 pieces of 6 3/8 by 5 3/8, and I have it set as pages 1 and 4. So basically it's going to be the first page and the last page. Okay, then you're going to need 6 3/8 by 5 7/8. You'll need 2 of those, and these are going to be your middle 2 pages. All right, and now we need our spines. And for the spines, you are going to need 2 1 6/8, sorry, 1 by 6 3/8. And we are going to score these. I just haven't done it yet. But these basically will go in between here and here. And then for your large middle spine, this is 1 3/4 by 6 3/8. And we are going to score this as well. Okay, so let's dive in, and we'll start by scoring our spines. And I'm just going to stack these in order to make it easier when we go to put this together. All right, so grab your scoreboard and your scoring tool. And we are going to start with the skinny spines. All right. Oop. Man, I feel like my scoreboard just like collects all of everything and I can't get to clean out. Okay. So going the long way, going the, what did I say, 6 3/8 way. All right, we're going to score it at 1/4. And I usually go in and score it 3 times and I dig. Okay, and then you're going to flip it around and you are going to score it 1/4 again. All right, and you are going to do that with both of your skinny pieces. All right, now with our thicker page, we are actually doing the same thing. Oh, guys, I'm just looking at this, and I saw that I had told you to do 2 of these. That's wrong. It's just this one, okay? So just make 1. All right, and my daughter, the cat, is coming upstairs. Okay, so we want to score this at 1/4. And then again, flip it and score at 1/4. All right, now our spines are scored and we are ready to move on to the next step. So what I would do here is, fold and really get in there and crease. So let's pull back those sheets that we had before. All right, so if you're like me, you want to double check that they're all facing the right way. Okay, because I have put mine in sideways before. So we have 6 3/8, and then we have the 1 3/8 spine. Then we have, sorry, that was the 5 3/8. Now we have the 5 7/8, and we want the big thick spine. And then we have the 5 7/8 again. And we have the thin spine, and then we have the 5 3/8. Okay. And we are now going to glue these together. So let me move these out of the way so you can see what we're doing here. So I'm going to use my Barely Arts glitter glue for this. No, not glitter glue, it's Barely Arts glue, okay? And what I'm going to do is I am going to put glue along here. I'm going to press this in like that, and then I'm going to go through and I thought it was varnish, but I guess it's burnish. Okay, so I get it right in there. My cat child has returned. Okay, and then I'm going to get a rag to get any extra glue. All right, I'm going to pull my light closer. My eyes are not what they used to be, you guys. It makes this definitely more challenging. All right. And I think my head keeps hitting the phone, so I apologize if you are being shaken as you're watching this. Last thing you need is motion sickness. All right. So I get that like right in there. Okay. Yep, and it moved. Just, I mean, this is the base of your whole project. So, I mean, you want this to be as lined up as it gets. Okay. All right, so we have that glued down, and I don't usually write on my paper, and it's stressing me out to have writing. So I'm gonna go through and just, you know, get rid of that. I mean, we're going to cover this with so many papers, but still, let's just get rid of that. Okay. All right, next, we're going to take our 5 7/8, and we are going to do the same thing. And put glue along the spine. And then I'm going to have right here. Again, you want this to be as straight as possible. If you need to, rip it up, because this is the base of your entire project, basically. All right, and so we are going to push this down. Hey Maggie, I'm filming. Can you please leave and have the door mostly closed?
Yeah, but can you call me when you're done filming?
Yep.
I'll be right out the door, right?
All right.
Alright, Mom, I got halfway done.
Thank you. All right, so that was our 5 7/8, and now we are moving on to our bigger spine. And again, I want to get it right in there when I glue it. All right, hang on, I have to erase.
That was not me.
And I have to erase this. Okay. Oh, and my daughter just shut the door with the cats in the room, so we'll see how that goes.
The cat opened the door, Mom.
Yeah, can you open it, Maggie? The cat's gonna be trapped in the room, and that's not gonna go well. Okay. So we have glue all along there. And let's line that up. Okay. Oh man, pulled off.
Nah. Mom, I took the bucket and the cat opened it.
All right, Megs. The kids have a very hard
I
time
like that.
not being the center of attention. Okay, so there is that. Oh, now I got all these little eraser bits going near my glue. Okay, then we have the 5 7/8 again. And we are going to glue this down. I was not crazy with how it went last time, so let's see if I can do better. If I glue it like that and push down. I just want it to be as firm as possible. I suppose I could always do that, right? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So let's get glue on the spine. All right. Make sure that's lined up. Awesome. Press down. You might have some seepage of glue, and that's fine. Just get your rag and clean it up. Get your fingernails, scrape it out, whatever you need to do. All right. And more erasing. All right, and this is Recollections 110 pound cardstock from Michaels that I'm using. It was 4 different shades of pink, and this is, this is not the most pink, it's the second, if that makes sense, in the set. Okay, so it's open like this so far. I find it easier to close it partially to keep going. So now we're going to do the skinny spine again. And again, I want to get right up against there. Make sure it's lined up. Push it down. Rip it up if you need to. Try again. Okay. All right. And now we have our last piece. All right. And this is what I mean, because I'm not even joking. I will glue it down like this sometimes and then realize my mistake. Okay, so let's see. So for this one, I'm gonna push it like that. All right. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I had a program where I could record and see what you were seeing on my computer screen, and it just was not working right, and I've tried everything to fix it and I can't fix it. So now I'm just filming straight from my phone, but I have a very limited view of what you can see. So hopefully, ooh, that's not lined up. Hopefully you can clearly see what I'm doing. I just feel like this end is not quite there. All right, there we go. So we have it, we did it. It's so big you're not gonna be able to see the whole thing in screen, but we have, it goes like this, and then it goes like this, okay? And don't worry about, you know, the paper showing over there. We're gonna cover that up. So it's going to look like this at the top, okay? And we'll do magnets to make sure it holds that shape. And then it looks like this on the other side. Looks like this on the inside. All right, so let's, I feel like that's tilting slightly. Okay, let's go through and do magnets. And I will link these magnets below. It was Carolina from Carolina's Crafts that first started me on these. They are the best magnets I've ever used. They're incredibly thin and powerful. It's like the best combination ever. So you don't see them at all in your crafting, but they're really strong. Okay, so let's get magnets. All right, so let's start with our double-sided tape. All right, and we want this part, you know, to line up, so I'm going to have it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my double-sided tape, I'm going to stick the magnet right in the center, okay? And then I don't want to be right up against the edge. So even though these are nice and thin, I have to give myself some space, right? Okay. And then what you do is you take, actually, let's get the other one here, then I'll show you. Okay, so this is going to take at least 3 magnets. That I'm most comfortable with at least 3 magnets for this. You can do Velcro, you could not do any magnets, you could stick some ribbon in here, you know, whatever works for you. I just prefer the magnets. Okay, I'm gonna make that a little shorter. All right, and then I'm going to put my other one here. Okay, so now we're going to have magnets that line up the sides here, but then I would also like magnets here. So, and last time I did this project, I actually ran out of my magnets, but I ordered it from the online store, and it came within a handful of days. It was really nice. Okay. And then this double-sided tape I got from Amazon. It came with like all different sizes. And I was using the really thin ones, but I'm finding I like this thicker, wider tape best. All right, one more, guys, and then I'll show you how to put the other ones on. Okay. My magnets decided they wanted to find their home. Okay, There we go. All right, so we have these magnets, and now we have to line it up with this side, right? So I learned this from Create with Martha Tucker. What you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of the double-sided tape. So this side is not sticky, this side is sticky. So sticky side up, and then you're going to take your magnet and you're going to let it drop, okay? Right there. And we're going to do that. Maggie, please leave
The cats look like
yeah,
them.
you're gonna need to leave that door open so that the cats can come and go, okay?
Okay.
All right, and so I'm going to do this with each magnet. And we'll do 2 more. Maggie, leave the cats alone while they're eating.
It's just short with you. Let's prepare the food for lunch, which we haven't had yet. Hey, Mom. We didn't have lunch yet.
Okay. And then let's do the last one. Okay, and then these are the little plastic dividers with the magnets. I haven't found a use for them yet. If you have something cute and crafty you do with them, let me know. Because I save them and then I end up throwing them out at the end because I don't know what to do with them. Okay.
So you can write down in the comments.
Yes, thanks Maggie. So you can write down in the comments. All right, so now we need to line this up. Okay, and then I'm going to press. I'm going to press down so that the tape, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm pressing down so that double-sided tape connects. And then I'm going to kind of, you don't want to pull it straight because it will, it might pull it right off. Didn't stick. All right, hang on. All right, so I had to guide it with my hands, but not terrible. Okay, there we go. So now you have all your magnets face down. I have that so I can see where I'm filming. All right, and there we go. It's nice and lined up now. That looks pretty good. And we can start creating the inside. Okay, so let's start with, oh, let me just cap up my glue before it creates a problem. Let's start with the waterfall. Okay, we're gonna start, so we're gonna open it up. This is going to be our waterfall. So let's get that going. All right, and so for the waterfall, again, if you haven't pre-cut, you need a 4.5 by 10.5, a 4.5 by 9.5, and a 4.5 by 8.5. All right, and this strategy I am going to show you was Michelle Allen's. And honestly, guys, like my waterfalls were always wonky and it was so frustrating. And this has been a complete game changer for me. Okay, so what you're going to do is take each of your sheets. You're going to lay it on your scoreboard. You're going to score at 4. And then you're going to turn this and you are going to score at 4 again. Okay, so take your next piece, score at 4. Okay, turn it and score at 4 again. Okay, and take your last piece, score at 4, turn it around and score at 4 again. All right, and I don't know if you can see from there, but each, it makes a smaller space in between each one. All right, you are going to need your scoreboard, but I have to fold this first, so I have to get this out of the way. So now you are going to use your scoreboard and line up your biggest piece, okay? And you'll see that the score line is at the 4. Then you're going to take your middle piece. You're going to put glue right here, and you are going to glue it at the 4.5, okay? So get your glue. All right, and then line it up, make sure everything's lined up. Use your scoreboard and line it up at the 4.5 mark. Okay. All right, then take your last piece, and again, you're going to put glue all right here. Okay, and now at this time, you're going to the 5-inch, and you are going to glue this down at the 5-inch. And you have your waterfall, guys, although I do not like how that's not even, but we'll see. And look at that. All right, and then if it's wonky, like for some reason, this little piece is wonky over here, either you can go back and try to fold it, or you can just put this in your trimmer, trim it off. Okay, so I'm going to mark it about here with my pencil, and I'm going to score right there. Oh, sorry guys. All right, and then really crease it, and now here we go. I have my closure. All right, so I don't need it to be that big, so I'll trim that off. glue going. All right, do about center. I'm just eyeballing it. You could always measure. All right, and there you go. So back to magnets. All right, so I'm going to put my magnet oops. All right, so going to stick my magnet there. And that's a little bit close to the top. You want to give yourself some grace in there. All right, I'm going to get my next piece. Okay, again, this one is sticky side up. Let it fall. All right, and now close it. And pull. And there you go. All right, so this is good to go. All right, guys, so the waterfall is too big by like maybe 1/4 of an inch. No, that's an 1/8. Maybe a 1/16. It just barely goes over. So right now in the video, you're seeing that I have put the closure on, but I am going to edit this so that you don't make the mistake I do, because now I need to cut this off, which means I'm going to be cutting my closure off. All right, so that's why you're seeing this in the video when I haven't gone through it yet. I need to splice some things. So I'm going to cut the bottom page by that much, and I'm going to reattach the closure. All right, let's do this. Let's check it. Okay, and we just fit now. So I'm wondering. Yeah, all right. So what I did was I took a scrap paper. I'm just going to peel off. There's like multiple layers right now because I had already done this. Okay, so what you need is a scrap paper where you can fold some under it and then come and do the clasp, okay? So normally I would recommend more paper here, but because we're gluing it down, it will be secure. Okay. So I'm adding glue here. And normally what you would do is eyeball it and then put the magnets on, but unfortunately, due to my measuring error, that's not a choice. All right, what's going on? Okay. All right, so yours will look a lot cleaner than mine because you'll have done it right the first time. as flat as possible. Okay, so here we go. Magnetic clasp. So now we're going to put glue all on the side of this, and we are going to glue it down here. However, I think I'm going to go through first and add paper to the back of each of these before I glue anything down. So if you are just going to glue it straight down and then, you know, decorate the sides, feel free. I'm going to hold off on that until I decorate. Okay, so the waterfall is made. Now we're going to make this side pocket. Okay, so these are going to be the pockets that flip on the inside. And this will be the base pages for those. So you're going to need 4 7/8 by 2 7/8. You'll need 2 of those. Oh, here we go. All right. Then the pockets are going to be 3 7/8 by 4 3/8. You're going to need 2 of those. You can see there's scoring on this one. It's a 1/2 inch on 3 sides to make the pockets, and I'll go through how to do that in a minute. And then these are going to be the large pockets inside. So these are 4 1/2 by 7 inches. You'll need 2 of them. And again, we're going to score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So let's get started. Let's start with the small pockets. So we are, basically what we're doing is we're making pockets that will attach to these base pages. Okay, so let's score our 2 pockets. And I'm going to set it in so that the bottom is 3 7/8. And I am going to score 1/2 inch. And I'm going to flip it and score 1/2 inch. Oh dear, hang on. There we go. All right, and then flip it one more time. Doesn't matter which end, and do 1/2 inch. All right, and then we are going to fold. Fold. Okay, and now we're going to miter. So what that means is we are going to cut this off and this off and just leave a little bit here. You don't want a hole there. So there are tools you can do this with. You can eyeball it. Whatever is easiest for you. I find when they're bigger, the tools work great for me, and when they're smaller, I prefer to eyeball it. And then I just miter the corners here. It's just easier for me. Okay. And so now we have, let's get Okay, so now we have our pocket. Okay, and this one that says it's the base page, okay? So you're going to glue it down, and I have to tell you guys, I messed this up so bad the first time I did it. I was so frustrated. So the part that opens that you're going to, you know, stick things into the pocket, you want that to line up completely to the edge, and you're going to have this hanging off. This is your hinge. When I first did these, I glued all of them down the opposite way, and I had to, it was a mess, you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down this piece first, okay? So I'm going to add, oop, come on, you can do it. I'm going to add my glue here. Okay, and then line it up here. Okay. Push down, open it up, push down, and then this part, I've had a couple creators, I mean Country Craft absolutely does this, but I've also heard of others doing this. You get tape, okay, and okay, so when I'm going to put something down in this, this is my pocket right down here. And so you get tape and you cover like this edge. Oop. And pick up all the dust on your table. All right. Like that. And it just makes it smooth. So please ignore the dry glue. All right. So when I go to stick something in here, it just makes it smoother. You know how sometimes you stick it in and like catches on this? It just smooths it out so that it doesn't do that. All right, and it's a little rough looking right there. Okay, so now I am going to take my glue and I am going to glue my sides down. And I always try to get like right on the edges here. Okay. All right, so you have, hang on. All right, so you have your opening on this side, and then you have this extra flap, which you need on this side. Don't be like me and put the opening right here and then need to redo the whole thing. Okay? All right. One of two done. So let's go back and do the other one. So we have our 2 small pockets. We'll set those to the side. Okay, so we are going to do the folder on the inside second page. To do this, you are going to need 2 base pages, 6 inches by 5 inches. Then you're going to need the 2 pocket pages. These are 4.5 by 7, and we are going to score these on 3 sides so that when we get done, the pocket is going to go right on here, and then we'll have a hinge at the end. All right, so let's score. All right, and we want it to go this way. So we want the 7-inch side to go the long way, and we are going to score it 1/2 inch. And then flip 1/2 inch. Okay, and then we're going to go the long way. So now this is at 4.5, and we are going to do 1/2 inch. Okay, there's our first one. Let's do our next one. So now we are going to miter the corners. And I just trim the sides. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Okay, so now we are going to connect our pockets to our base pages. Okay, so the pockets were 4.5 by 7. The base pages are 6 by 5. And it's going to be the same as before, where we're going to have the open side and then the hinge. All right, so let's get, ooh, this paper is so thick. Let me try one more time. Okay. All right, so I want that to be lined up, and I want this to be lined up. Okay. Let's push that down there. Sop up the extra. Okay, open it, push it down. Okay, and then we are going to add our tape again. Oh dear. can't stand how it gets like little fuzzies in there, but ripping up the paper, so I guess we're leaving it. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to glue the sides and glue it down here. Okay, so we have our open pocket here and we have our hinge here. Okay, nice. So that is one, and now let's go and do our last one. Guys, and now we're ready to assemble. So we have these two pockets and these two pockets. So let's do this. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is put score lines for each of our hinges. So grab that scoreboard. Okay. And it might line up, you might need to adjust. So mine lines up right at the 1 inch mark, and I can score straight across at this 1 inch mark. Okay. That's all right. There we go. We just need it to fold back like that. And the scoring definitely helps, but I mean, you can make it work, you guys. So there is one. Just panicking that I did the wrong side again, but I didn't. I did it right this time. Two. And these, look at that, you guys. What is all over my paper? Wish I knew. I mean, I'm gonna cover it, but still, I would love to know why it looks like this paper got dragged through dirt. All right. There we go. So now we are going to attach these. So let's take, it doesn't matter which one you do. All right. So I'm going to take this, make sure, you know, this opens here. This is the hinge I'm attaching to. And basically I'm going to put one here and one here. Okay, now a little bit of space. Okay, so need to miter so that these don't like hit into each other. So I'm just drawing the spot there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to miter up here. Okay. And I'm going to miter down here. All right, so I have my top and my bottom, and then I'm going to miter this hinge. I'm just making a triangle, you guys. There we go. Okay. And so this way my hinges are independent of each other. Okay, and so this is actually going to be glued down like that. Okay. I just want to make sure it's not going, you know, over the top over here. Making sure, you know, I can, whoop, got some extra glue here. Making sure it could flip open either way easily. Okay. All right, there's our first pocket. And then we'll do the same thing with our next pocket here. Just won't get all the way over. Make sure it's lined up. Yep, okay. Okay, and honestly, I'm gonna trim this. This is gonna drive me nuts. So I'm just going to neaten this up a little bit. Okay, and neaten this up a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have the first page, okay, pocket. Next page are the two tag holders independent of each other. On to the next part. So now we have this final page, which is going to get glued down like this, okay? So all right. So let me tell you what I did last time. Last time I was so focused on this that when I finished gluing it, it was like that, you guys. It was terrible. So make sure that you're lining this up. And honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue here and here, and then I'm literally going to line it up like this. So that I mean, you want this to be smooth. Okay, let's do it, you guys. Ooh, sorry about that. Went for a little ride. set, go. Guys, look, is it getting worse? Or is it just the same one that's driving me nuts every time? I don't know. Okay, and then you might be looking at this and being like, oh my gosh, it looks terrible. It does, you're right. But we're gonna cover it with design paper. Okay, and then we have this flap to hook this into our journal. And I mean, it's thick, but it lays mostly flat. And honestly, if that bothers you, you can easily, you could create a hinge. What I did my last one is I created a tie right here. It's up to you. All right, but it wants to lay flat, right? You want to. Okay, so this is another thing. I'm not gonna do it now, but I'm not crazy about the spine. I think it looks kind of sloppy, okay? So what I would recommend doing is taking a piece of washi tape and covering this just to make it look a little smoother. Okay, so far we have our waterfall. We have our, what would you guys call this? Our tag flippy book. And then I glue this here so I can make a pocket here. Okay. And now we are going to move on to our photo album. Now this part might be challenging because I don't really think people have photo album papers hanging around anymore, right? So I got mine from a thrift shop. There's all different kinds and sizes. I actually designed mine around the size for this one. My entire album is what I'm trying to say. What I was planning to do though is I got those big, 12 by 12 sheets, and I had my fuse tool and I was planning to just like hand make some, but then this worked out. Okay, so I mean this is thrift shop, you guys, so 95 cents for this pack that's meant to hold, I believe, 4 by 6 papers. Okay. Ooh, nice piece of thick paper there. Okay, and so this is 1.5 by 6 1/8, and there's probably better ways to do this, but what I do is I line it up and I make my circle. Okay, and then I get my Crop-A-Dile and I punch it out. Oh yeah, that's a much better fit. Okay, so you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just lining up the circle. Okay, so I'm gonna punch through. Okay, and here, let me clean this out. Be more responsible than last time. Okay, and now I'm going to use some decorative brads to finish this up. Oh my gosh, just come out. There we go. All right, so let's see what I have in my stash here. Okay, so I have these brads, which are so pretty. They have like a clear gemmy center. And then I have these flowers. So let's see. That's pretty. Garage sale, $1. How great is that? Ooh, all right, I like the size. There we go, you guys. Winner, winner. All right. So I'm going to get, and look for the big ones. Although, okay, so some of them are cut. Do you guys see that? I mean, it still works, but I'd rather have a full size for this. All right, so I'm going to just push it through all my pages. Push it through my 110-pound cardstock and secure it. Ta-da! Oh, isn't that pretty? I really like that. Okay, and then going to do it again. Wonder what they were doing. Did they cut some of these, the people? The crafter before me. Oh wait, oh there's multiple ones. Hang on you guys. I'm wasting flowers over here. Okay. Whew, that was a close call. All right. Here we go. Pop that bread in there. And flatten it. Okay. So, I mean, that's it, you guys. And now it's all secure, right? And you can put in whatever you want. Did I do the right side? Oh, they're both open, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so what I found was I wanted more coverage. I wanted like a cover when I did this. So let's look through my scraps here. Yes, you will work, sir. All right. Okay, so I'm going to use this scrap paper. I am going to make a little bit of a spine here, and then I'm going to trim it. And then I can give you measurements, but I mean, this is based on my paper, but I'll give you measurements in case that helps. Okay, so where's my 1/2 inch, and we're going to do a 1/4 inch spine. Oh no! Don't worry, we'll cover it with paper. That's my solution to everything. So layer it up, man. Okay, so I have scored at the 1/2 inch and the 3/4 inch to create this 1/4 inch spine.
Nothing.
All right, so I have my 1/4 inch spine, and I have this little bit of overhang to attach. Yeah, perfect, you guys. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, that worked out really well. Although am I crushing my flowers? I probably am.
Mom.
So now, all right, so I'll glue that down there, right? I'll have my
pin.
no thanks. I'll have my spine. Okay, and let's just make sure it fits in the book. Oh yeah, that fits very nicely. All right, you guys. Oh, and I'm off screen, sorry. So I was just making sure that it fit within the confines, and it does. And again, there's another room for a pocket if you want to put a pocket in there. Okay, so I am going to glue this together, and then we will move on to the last thing, which is the pocket. Okay. Okay,
Mom,
so
can we
let's,
help out?
in a minute, Margaret, I'm trying to glue. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting an angle where I could really press down on this.
Press down what?
I'm trying to glue this paper to this paper
Ow.
without crushing my beautiful flowers.
Mom got us new glue.
Yep. All right. And then,
And I got the rainbow.
all right.
Mom.
All right, we're gonna finish up with the expanding pocket. So for that, you will need a 4 7/8 by 7 5/8. You will need a 4 7/8 by 6, and you will need two 2 by 4.5 pieces of cardstock. So let's start scoring. We'll start with these pieces. These are the side pieces for our expanding folder. And let me just make some space here. All right, so we are going to go the long way, the 2-inch side, and we are going to score at 1/2, 1, and 1.5 to make an accordion. And if you know me, you know accordions are my Achilles heel. I don't know what it is about accordions, but it does not go well when I do them. Okay, it'll look like that when you're done. One more. Okay, there we go. And now let's score the lid. So we want this to be going the 6-inch side, and we are going to score it 3 3 1/4 to make a hinge. So we have our lid hinge right here. And then finally we have our pocket. And we are going to turn it the long way. And we are going to score at 3 inches. All right. Now it's time to fold. We are ready to assemble. I am not going to assemble the thing in its entirety just so I can decorate, but let me show you. So this is actually going to be the front, okay, of the pocket. And then this, there probably is a better way to do this. I'm just going by the directions I had. Okay, so basically that goes together, and then there is, okay, so that's your pocket. Ooh, what did I do there? Okay, and then the hinges, it's gonna look like an M, okay? And then The end points to the inside. And the hinges are gonna go right there so that you can open it like that. And then of course we need our magnetic closure, so we can do that as well. But I'm not going to put it fully together, just because I want to decorate with like paper and stuff, and it's harder to do when it's all glued down together. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this in place with tape right now. I'll glue this down after, but just for right now. There we go. Let's tape that, okay? And now let's work on the magnet. Okay, and then, so this is the part that I'm not going to do yet because I still need to decorate. But basically what you would do is you would glue right here, okay, and you'll glue it down, and then you put glue here, and you would glue this down, and then you have your expandable pocket. All right. Okay, so let's do our magnet. So let's start with this. And let's get our double-sided tape and tape the magnet down. Scissors, here they are. All right. So on the sticky side, I'm going to just do this, and I'll do like right there. Okay. And then I'm going to take a piece of double-sided tape. This time I'm going to do sticky side up. I will let the magnet just kind of fall into place. It's very sticky. All right, and then there we go. All right, and so we have our magnetic closure, and I usually, like, I'm going to put paper here and paper up here, and then once I get done and I glue these, I will have my expandable pocket. So now it's embellishment time, you guys. It's the best part. Here we go. done, but it's getting there. So I need to still, you know, decorate the spines on this. And then when we open it up, I need to decorate this. So I'll make another video, guys, doing that. The waterfall is just about done. I don't do any additional decorations inside, otherwise it bulks it up too much. So that's done. The tag book itself is done. None of the embellishments inside are done. So I need to go through. I'll probably add a pocket here, and I need to put, you know, some fun tags in here, and that's a pocket, so I'll need to find something to put in that. And then I'll do another pocket here. This already is a pocket. This is a pocket. And then I have to figure this out. My thought is to just do a pocket going along the side. This should be under this. So I probably will need to put down another piece of paper. So I did that in the wrong order. Just a heads up, if you guys are going step by step through it, I mean, it's not hard to cover up. And I honestly, I could either do the same page and cover up the whole thing, or I could make some really, you know, colorful rectangle to put here and just kind of pop it. So lots of options to fix that. This is supposed to lay completely flat, and I have a feeling the 110-pound cardstock is working against that. So you might want to consider doing this in 65-pound cardstock. And then you can see I cleaned up the spine with some washi tape. And moving on, I need to find something to go in the center of this. I want something sparkly, so I have to look. And then I need to decorate the cover more for this. And then something for this, I'm not sure. Another paper or something. And then you have all the photo sheets. And again, it's that awkward thing I glued down here, so I have to figure out how to kind of cover that. Maybe I'll do side pockets, you guys, right? All right, and then this washi, I'm probably going to need to glue down. It's already starting to come up on the side. No big deal. And then my expanded pocket, I'll find some fun things to put inside here. You can see right there how it expands. Lots of room in that. I can even do a little journal in that one. So anyways, here is the, now I wouldn't say finished product, but this is the product that you'll end up making by following the tutorial. And I'll be back with another video at some point to show the finished thing. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Bye.